World War II, a period of time when humanity was put to the ultimate test. The war brought forth a darkness that blanketed the world, a darkness that was especially palpable in the concentration camps. These camps were not just prisons but factories of death where fear was the permanent resident. Every day was a struggle for survival. Brutal conditions, harsh labor, and the constant threat of death hung heavily in the air. The prisoners lived in a state of perpetual terror, never knowing if each day would be their last. The harsh reality of the camps was a stark reminder of the depths to which humanity could sink. Yet, amidst this horrific landscape, there were glimmers of hope. Stories of courage, resilience, and the indomitable will of the human spirit. Today, we delve into one such story, a tale of two brave souls who dared to defy their captors, risk their lives, and escape from the clutches of the Nazis. Little light shone in these dark places, but today, we share a story of daring, courage, and escape. Our story begins in the heart of one such camp, Sobibor. This was not a conventional prisoner of war camp. Sobibor was a death camp, a place where the air was thick with despair and the grim reek of mortality. Built and operated by Nazi Germany in occupied Poland during World War II, Sobibor was part of the final solution, designed for the systematic extermination of Jews. Among the thousands of prisoners were two men, Leon Feldhendler and Alexander Peczerski. Feldhendler, a Polish Jew, was a leader in his community before the war. Peczerski, on the other hand, was a Soviet officer captured on the Eastern Front. Both men, from different walks of life, found themselves in the same dire situation, their lives hanging by a thread in the ruthless Sobibor camp. Amidst the despair, two men dared to dream of freedom. Against all odds, a plan was hatched. In the midst of despair and hopelessness, two brave souls dared to dream of freedom. Their names were Rudolf Verba and Alfred Wetzler, and they were about to embark on an audacious plan to escape from Auschwitz, the most notorious of all Nazi death camps. Their plan was not crafted in a day. It was the product of countless hours spent observing the routines and patterns of the camp, of hushed whispers and covert exchanges, of careful strategizing and meticulous planning. Every detail, no matter how small, was considered. Every potential obstacle was analyzed and planned for. They knew that the smallest mistake could cost them their lives. Risk was an inherent part of their plan. The threat of discovery loomed over them every single moment. The guards were vigilant, the fences were high, and the chances of success were slim. But the alternative, staying and facing certain death, was far worse. They were driven by a desperate hope, a burning desire to live and to tell the world about the horrors they had witnessed. Their plan involved an audacious act of deception. They planned to hide in a woodpile near the fence line, covered in tobacco and gasoline to mask their scent from the German shepherd dogs. They would stay hidden for 3 days and nights, waiting for the search parties to give up and move on. Then, under the cover of darkness, they would make their escape. The bravery required to even think of such a plan was immense, yet, for VRBA and Wetzler, it was not just about their own survival. They felt a deep sense of duty to bear witness to the atrocities being committed in the camp, to bring the truth to the world. They knew that their escape, if successful, could save countless lives. They understood the magnitude of their task. They knew the odds were against them, yet they chose to hope, to fight, to dream of freedom. And so, with a plan in their hearts and hope in their eyes, they waited for the right moment. The day of reckoning arrived, the day they would test fate itself. Our brave duo knew that the stakes were high. The plan, meticulously crafted over countless nights, was about to be put into action. Their hearts pounded in their chests like war drums, matching the rhythm of the impending adventure. Every step they took, every breath they drew, was a silent prayer for success. The escape began under the cover of darkness. Night, their only ally, shrouded them in her cloak, hiding them from the prying eyes of the guards. The first challenge was to navigate the labyrinthine corridors of the camp. It was a maze designed to confuse and disorient, but they had studied it, memorized every twist and turn, every dead end, and every possible escape route. The next hurdle was the guards. The camp was heavily fortified with watchtowers and patrolling soldiers. Timing was everything. They had to wait for the perfect moment when the guards were changing shifts to make their move. It was a waiting game that tested their patience and resolve. They had one chance, one moment, and they couldn't afford to miss it. As the guards changed shifts, the pair seized the moment. They slipped past the watchtowers, their hearts pounding louder than ever, their breaths shallow and rapid. Every rustle, every footfall felt amplified, echoing in their ears like thunder. But they soldiered on, driven by their will to survive, to escape, to tell the world the truth. Then came the most formidable obstacle, the barbed wire fence. It was a monstrous barrier, a symbol of their captivity, a reminder of their torment. But they had a plan. Using tools they had secretly fashioned, they began to cut through the wire. The sound of the wire snapping under their tools was deafening in the silence of the night. Every snap, every cut brought them closer to freedom and closer to danger. It was a race against time, a race they had to win. Finally, they cut through the last strand of wire, creating a gap just wide enough for them to pass. They crawled through it, their bodies scraping against the cold, hard ground. They could feel the sting of the barbed wire against their skin, but it was a sweet pain, a pain that signaled freedom. And then they were outside the walls that had held them captive. They stood up, taking in the sight of the world beyond the camp. It was a world still at war, a world scarred and battered, but it was a world that held hope. They were free men, no longer prisoners, no longer victims, but survivors. Finally, against all odds, they were outside the camp walls, free men in a world at war. Their escape was not the end, but the beginning of a new struggle. Picture this: two men having just escaped the clutches of a Nazi death camp, now faced the daunting task of surviving in a world at war. With no resources, no home to return to, and a target on their backs, they had to rely on their wits and the goodwill of strangers to survive. In the cold and dark, they traveled through woods, hiding from German patrols and scavenging for food. They faced harsh winter conditions, hunger, and the constant threat of discovery. But with every hardship, they held on to their resolve, driven by the burning desire to reveal the horrors they had witnessed. They found shelter with sympathetic locals who risked their own lives to hide them. They shared their stories, their experiences, their truths. Word began to spread about their escape and the atrocities they had witnessed. Their tale was a beacon of hope in a time of despair, a testament to human resilience against the darkest of odds. Eventually, they reached the relative safety of the Allied forces. With their stories finally reaching the ears of those who could act upon them, the world began to learn about the true scale of the Nazis' crimes. Their testimonies were crucial in shaping the global understanding of the Holocaust, contributing to the mounting evidence of the systematic murder of 6 million Jews. In the aftermath of their daring escape, they didn't just survive, they thrived. They became voices for the voiceless, champions for the truth. They lived to see the downfall of the regime that had sought to silence them, to extinguish their lives, their stories, their identities. Their journey was not easy, nor was it without sacrifice, but they persevered, driven by a purpose greater than themselves. Their bravery and determination not only saved their lives, but also brought the atrocities of Sobibor to light. They reminded the world of the strength of the human spirit and the power of truth to triumph over darkness. Their escape was not the end, but the beginning of a new struggle. But it was a struggle they faced head-on with courage and resilience. Their bravery and determination not only saved their lives, but also brought the atrocities of Sobibor to light. In the face of absolute horror, two men found the strength to resist. From the chilling confines of a Nazi death camp, they wove a daring tapestry of escape, a beacon of defiance in a world swathed in darkness. Their saga, a testament to human resilience and courage, was not just about personal survival, but an act of revelation, shedding light on the monstrous horrors veiled behind the barbed wires. The story of their audacious escape is a vital thread in the broader fabric of World War II history. It's a stark reminder that even in the midst of the most brutal oppression, the human spirit can rise, resist, and ultimately prevail. Their story also underscores the importance of bearing witness, of raising voice against atrocities, a role they fulfilled with exceptional bravery. Their story, a testament to the power of the human spirit, continues to inspire and remind us of the importance of freedom and the lengths one can go to protect it.